All right. Well, it's another week, and I've written some questions, things that come to mind to talk about that I think people don't think about on a daily basis.
Yeah,
And
I love,
one, because I am a doctor, it says, no, my question is, does your doctor ask about your diet?
great question.
Mm-hmm.
Great question.
How
I've seen
many?
so
Because I don't go. I got bit by a dog last August. No. A year ago in August, a year and a half ago. That's the only time in my adult life I have ever used my health insurance. And my premiums are the cheapest I can get, and they're nearly $500. It's ridiculous. And no, I'm not on any meds. I don't, nothing. I've had strep throat twice. I've actually had it three times in my adult life, and all three times I paid out of pocket to go to the doctor and get the prescription for
yeah, wow.
medications. But outside of
Yeah,
that, never once used my insurance as an adult.
that's
So
awesome. And I'll love
so
to get you
my
there.
question, I'll talk about my experience as the doctor, but have you, when you go to the doctor, when you take your girls to the doctor, how many times do they ask about your diet?
Okay, never with my girls do they ask about their diet. Never, ever, ever. It's just how many shots they've had, certain things like that. But it's funny that you say that because now that I've been with you for the past, almost 3 years now, um, all of my appointments up until now, they've never asked me about my diet. But the minute I say that I've been doing carnivore, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Oh, well, this explains this and this explains this and this. I'm like, excuse me. I just recently started doing this. I've been doing what you have been telling me for the past 10 years. So let's talk about diet now, right? In fact, that's
Mhm.
when I was telling you that I finally just said, threw up my arms and I'm like, look, I'm going to stop doing this Mediterranean diet, this vegan diet, this vegetarian, all the stuff that they were suggesting. I'm going to go and do what these quack doctors, for
Me.
lack of a better word,
But
are
I got
talking
thick
about.
skin. I got thick
Yes,
skin. I've been a quack doctor since the beginning of my,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna go do what they say. I'm gonna eat nothing but meat and fat, and I'm gonna have my, make sure I have my electrolytes, my potassium, my, calcium, all those kind of things. And I'm gonna come back to you in 6 months, and we're gonna look at my blood work. And if it is better than what we've been doing, you have a lot of explaining to do. And that's exactly what I did. I
Uh-huh,
mean, and
uh-huh.
I was doing my blood work every 3 months, and then when the 6 month mark came up, I go into my doctor's office, doesn't even recognize me, then sits down with me and is looking at my blood works. I can tell it's probably the first time he's looked at it. He didn't look at it before. He's looking
Mhm.
at it with me and he's just like, you're telling me that you've been able to do all of this simply by eating meat and fat? I said, yes. And he's like, all right, well, I think I need to look into this. I'm like, oh, hello, people are coming to your office with puzzles because they
Mhm.
don't know what the hell is going on with their body. It's it's one thing to, have an answer for it, but a lot of people just want you to hear, you know what? I don't know. Let's look into that. What are you eating? How are you sleeping? What are your relations like? What's your stress like? They don't ask any of that. And it just blows my mind away now that we're going through all this. So to answer your question, they don't. And and his to his defense, the doctor did say they don't teach us that. They teach
True.
us
To his
symptom,
defense, for sure. Yep.
code,
Yep.
spits out medicine. That's
Uh-huh.
how we do it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, okay, well, then
And
we need to
again,
change this.
I go back to chiropractors get a year of nutrition.
Yeah.
So we get the basic sciences on it, biochemistry, that, we have all the prerequisites, and then we also have more schooling on it. But not all chiropractors use that as a tool, especially one that would be called a rack and crack, that's a
What?
common term. They call that because you come in, you have a you can think of some doctors we've talked about where you come in and you're like, oh, I feel that, and I it kind of pains me to say that I'm a doctor just like they are. I have the same license and scope of practice. I have also way more education on it, and I don't feel that that ever helped me to just come in and get, cracked and that solve the problem. No, you got to look for what's going on, and that's why I went and did all the neurology and whatnot. But so that's where the rack and crack comes in, those quick visits and in and out kind of things.
Well, the
Um,
other thing, you see all these doctors and nurses, and they look really freaking unhealthy.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, I'm like, I don't
oh
want to
yeah,
take advice from you anyway,
yeah, yeah.
So it's sad. It's really sad. There's not a lot for us to turn to. We have to go out on our own and look crazy and
Yeah.
research and
Hmm.
question. And then you question them, and they're like, "Why are you questioning me? I'm the one with the degree. I'm the one." It's like, well, can we at least have a conversation?
Yeah.
I'd like to learn. It's not about right or wrong. It's about let me educate you. Let me teach you.
Well,
And this is
I've learned through patience. I mean, practice is seeing the same thing over and over, and you start to see things differently. Nobody is a textbook that walks in here. That's not how that goes.
very true.
You said something. When I listen to patients, what happens is I try to let them talk. I have to steer it a little bit because some will just talk. I'll say, is there pain in your hand? And they start to tell me a whole other story. And I'm like, no, no. Do you have pain in your hand? And so what will happen is they'll talk, they'll tell me their story and never answer my question because I just, do you have a simple question? And so they'll repeat, repeat, and then I come back to it. But do you have pain in your hand? They're kind of like, oh, yeah, you know. It's a whole story, so I have to guide that conversation a little bit. But I have had instances where I've had people come in. Typically, it's someone who is desperate and doesn't like to go to the doctor, and I typically see that more with males, not, to say one is better or different than the
Okay.
other, but I do see it more with males. And I'll start to ask about their diets, and they're like, "This, what does this have to do with anything?" They get mad when I'm asking them. I'm like, well, because the chemistry of what you're eating, the timing of this, the that can affect blood sugar, this, your neurons, your swelling, your inflammation, all the things that you're complaining of can be related to your diet. So, what are you eating? What do you eat? When do you eat? How much do you eat? So,
Oh, I eat healthy. I'm very healthy,
I
well
eat
balanced
healthy. I
diet.
get that absolutely all the time. What does that, I always say, what does that mean to you? And I'll let them, they'll say, oh, I'll have breakfast with some eggs. How many eggs? Is that all you eat with it? Do you drink anything with it? People don't look at it. I'm
Yeah.
like, you are creating a chemistry in your body that can have all of these issues. So it's funny because they're so programmed to the Western medicine design. Chiropractic still plays a role in that Western medicine and how they've had to buy in, especially if they take insurance, how they've had to set up the model of seeing patients the same way. So, chiropractors are
That's
not
probably a big part of it.
magical outside of that, but we do try to have a different
Insurance,
viewpoint. Say?
I was gonna say the insurance is probably a big part of that. They're
Yes.
trying to get paid. They're trying to figure out how
Or not
they
get paid.
can.
They're trying not to spend money because they're trying to make their own money. So they don't want to pay out. They don't pay doctors well. Doctors have to
No,
say,
that's
oh,
what I
okay, I
mean.
only have this much time.
The doctors in the office, they're trying to get paid. So they're trying to figure
Right.
out what insurance does this person have? What can I recommend? How do I talk? It's really
Yes.
sad, but I
Yeah.
think that's really
So it skews the way you treat patients when you do that. Nobody can tell me that that's not how they're running their practice, especially if you put up a fight to a patient who says, I'm doing this diet, that's going to hit their bottom line. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting.
Clearly our doctors don't ask the right questions. And it's sad that they don't even think. Actually, that's not true. I've heard some doctors say that they don't ask because they know that people aren't going to change either way.
And they only have
God, that
15 minutes with them. They've only scheduled this little time slot because they're billing on time codes. And I get it.
yeah,
I mean, I get it. I couldn't just spend a whole day holding someone's hand.
yeah,
They'd
yeah.
have to pay a lot of money. That's not going to work. So I get both ends of it, but there's a lot of things that don't heal with a pill, and time plays into it. Your attention to things plays a role in it. There's so many details.
So what does that tell you? So someone comes into your office and you're asking them, okay, what's your diet like? And they go, oh, I eat healthy. I have lots of vegetables and fruits, and I have my meat, and I have my good fats, and I've been pretty good my whole life. That's what are you thinking when you hear
Hold on
that?
one second. Hold on. Hi, just a quick ask here. If you were enjoying any of this content, we would love a like, a subscribe, a comment. We just want to get this information out to the masses, and that's it. Back to the conversation. Sorry, the maintenance guy
No, it's
had to
okay.
step in because my AC was broken. I came in and I was like, oh, it's working now. So he was just making sure
It's
I knew it
always
was
working
working.
in your office, Julie. I'll tell you that. I'm always, um, but
Yep.
But the question I was asking you is like, what comes to mind when someone comes into your office and they say that to you? When you ask them, okay, what's your diet like? And they're like, oh, I eat healthy,
Mhm.
lots of fruits, vegetables, well balanced. I have my healthy fats, I have my protein, and I only drink a little bit. It's like,
Mhm.
what
So
are you?
So with that, I won't accept that as an answer. I want to know specifically what you ate. I've had patients that just about live on fruits. I'm like, you need protein. You're anxious because you have no nutrients to actually make neurotransmitters. I can work your cerebellum whatever way I need to work it till the cows come home, but you need nutrients, for those to work.
Okay. Yeah, because I ask a lot of people too, and because I massage and I have injuries all the time, and
Hmm.
my go-to thing is like, what are you putting in your body? What are you
Yeah.
eating? That tells me a lot more, and then I can kind of direct, some
Hmm.
insight into it. But sometimes I'll just stop because I'll hear what they're saying, and like there's nothing I'm going to be able to tell this person in their 60 minutes, to
Yeah.
help them. It's frustrating, but
I I get torn with wanting to help everybody, but and I did that especially as a new doctor. I would say every doctor at the beginning wants to do that, but you get to the point where it's like people aren't putting the effort into themselves. Why should I put the effort into them? So when it comes to this class, I'm like, if you're not there, maybe you see these videos and it makes you think a little bit, and then maybe down the road you're like, oh, I get it now. I need to see this thing, or I want to do this thing. There's that
yeah.
contemplation, or there's pre-contemplation, contemplation, then action. And I'm not looking for this pre-contemplation. These videos kind of are for that, but I want people who are like, I need to take control of my own health. That's
Well, there you
that's
go.
the ultimate goal. And there's a natural hate to say Darwin, but there's a natural selection, if you're not willing to put the work in, whether it be make money, whether you want a home, travel, whatever it is, if you're not willing to do it, it's not somebody else's job to do it for you. And I think
Yeah.
your health is like the biggest thing.
That was probably the biggest eye opener for me was getting myself out of victim mentality. I didn't
Hmm.
realize I blamed everything and
Yeah.
everybody and every situation for why I couldn't do things for health wise, why I was having this,
Yeah.
it's so empowering to learn, about food and the power of it and how it affects your relationships, your job, your outlook on life. Like it's that important.
It drives me nuts, the topic of healthcare as a right.
Oh,
That drives me crazy. I'm like, you realize you saying that depends on somebody else to do it for you. That's not a right. Your right to breathe air, that makes sense. But I'm not obligated to do anything for you because of healthcare. It's not a right. Your right is to take care of your own health. That's your right. And then they'll say,
yeah.
oh, well, what about, on food stamps? You can eat well on food stamps. You can still eat healthy, cheap food on food stamps to chemically let your brain get out of the situation that you're in. That's really what it was designed for. But
It's sad. There's so
anyway.
many people out there that put people in victim mentality.
Hmm.
They exacerbate it. That's like they don't empower them. They don't ask the right questions either.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all of us asking the right questions. If you truly want to help someone, you got to figure it out, and the only way you can do that is by really asking. Hey, what's going on?
Hmm.
What are you eating? How are you feeling? What do you want? Like
Yeah.
and then and then helping them if you can. But yeah, you're right. You can't help everyone. And unfortunately, like you have said before, people wait to the last minute if something really bad happens.
Yeah, some do. Some like barely get a sliver and they're like,
Yeah, that's
we
true.
have, we
That's
have,
true.
That's a U-shaped curve or a
You know what? It
U-shape,
was,
however you want to do it.
I think for myself, you gave me like hope that there was a chance to reverse things. There was a
Hmm.
chance to change things,
Hmm.
but like you said, I had to want to do it.
Hmm.
And I don't think everyone is there.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone's there.
Hmm.
So that's where it comes in line of something bad has to happen. Someone has to die that they know, or someone similar, or something. Their blood
Hmm.
work comes back. And they're like, oh my gosh, what? It's like a wake up call, and we all get different wake up calls, and
Yeah.
you know, but yeah. I would agree with you
I
on
met a lady at
asking.
the gym the other day, and she was casually like, "Oh, my husband died a month ago of a heart attack at 50." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm like, where do we go with this conversation?" And she took from it, she was mad that he didn't share that he was having heart issues and whatnot. And
A whole other situation.
it kicked her to go to the gym. Some people will
Yeah.
respond in grief where they'll sit and they won't do anything and they get stuck. And she did the opposite. Does she stick with it? I don't know, but I'm glad it went that way for her versus
Yeah, and these
pushing harder.
conversations are becoming more and more normal. Oh, so and
Hmm.
so just had congestive heart failure.
At
Oh, so and
50,
so
I'm
just
like, I turned 49 this month. Holy cow.
yeah, and like
50.
if they just normalize it, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that could happen. Oh yeah, that's it's like, no,
Yeah.
really. I mean,
Yeah.
I was floored when my doctor was like, oh, you're in menopause at 38? Really? Are you gonna like look into
Yeah.
other things? I
Yeah.
was like, and honestly, had I not met you, I wouldn't have even thought to question. I'd be like, oh, he's a
Mm.
doctor.
Hmm.
Okay, I guess that's just me. I guess my body's different, you know? Ah, so frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It's been fun to help a few people get their period back. Just because they happen to be my patients. That's not my primary targeted, you know,
Sure.
patient population, but yeah, it's been fun. So,
Well, you helped me. I'm like clockwork now, and I have
yeah.
never been like clockwork since my cycle started. It was
Hmm.
never regular.
I definitely got
Never.
more regular when I gave up gluten and watched my carb intake for sure. That made a huge difference for me.
Yeah, well, I was in the 80s when it was, fat free and it was,
Hmm.
no, I mean, it's sugar free. I mean, we had pasta, potatoes, the
I
rice.
I'm reading a book, and we'll talk about it on a different topic here, but towards the beginning, he talks about graham, like the graham cracker. And
Oh,
that was pre Dietetics Association with oh man, brand what's the Kellogg. It was pre Kellogg.
Kellogg. Oh, huge
Yeah.
history with that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, graham cracker. Hmm.
I used to love eating graham crackers with peanut butter on it,
Oh.
dipping it
I
in
mean, you
milk.
say it
Oh,
now and I'll salivate. Don't get me wrong. Add a little jam to it,
yeah, we're not saying this stuff doesn't taste good. Of course, that's the whole
Yes.
point. It is
It's a
manufactured.
drug. It was designed not by nature. It was designed by a human. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's feel good. Oh, reminiscing and just
Hmm.
that childhood, what I used to do with, it's like, gosh, I
Yeah.
wish I could reminisce about different things than food.
Yeah.
But
All right.
anywho,
Well, we can tie up this video. In short, does your doctor ask you about your diet? And also, don't beat up the ones that do. And they want to know specifics. They may have good
yeah,
information, they may not. I think people can lose weight on many different diets, but are you actually healthy in how are you doing that? And then what is health? Is it muscle mass?
great
Is it body
question.
fat? Is it sleeping? Is it ability to have good relationships? What is health? So,
And everyone has different goals too. But
yeah,
I think that too. So
yeah.
awesome.
All right.
Cool.
To the next one.